Let's start with our first news. Alex Pereira has now publicly reacted to the growing controversy surrounding the upcoming UFC White House event, and his response is raising serious concerns among fans. Pereira left a worrying comment under an Instagram post discussing the problems connected to the event, writing, "Looks like the White House is a no-go." While he did not officially announce that he is out of the fight, the comment strongly suggests that he may not be fully comfortable with how everything is developing behind the scenes. The situation around the UFC White House event has become more complicated in recent days, with several logistical issues starting to emerge. One of the biggest concerns reportedly involves insects at the outdoor venue. According to Dana White, he recently attended a dinner in the newly opened Rose Garden and immediately noticed large swarms of gnats flying around the area. The issue quickly caught his attention because bright arena lights used during UFC events could attract even more insects during fight night. Dana explained that moths, gnats, and other flying insects could become a major distraction for fighters, coaches, commentators, and production staff. With thousands of powerful lights shining over the octagon, there are fears the bugs could completely overwhelm parts of the venue during the live broadcast. White has reportedly been cautious about hosting outdoor fight cards for years because of these exact problems, and now those concerns are becoming impossible to ignore. Fans have also started debating whether the event can realistically move forward without major changes being made. Some believe the UFC may need to redesign parts of the setup, while others think the company could even consider relocating the card entirely if the issues continue getting worse. For now, nothing official. Move on to another news. Magomed Ankalaev has confirmed his next fight is officially signed, posting on X saying, "Contract signed. I miss dunking on people. See you soon." The opponent has not been officially announced yet, but the short list is becoming clearer. At light heavyweight, the main contenders without a booked fight or recent activity appear to be Paulo Costa and Khalil Rountree, making one of them the most likely next matchup for Ankalaev. Both options bring very different challenges. A fight with Costa would lean into pure physicality and striking chaos, while Rountree would represent a more technical kickboxing battle with serious knockout danger. Either way, Ankalaev stepping back into the division immediately reopens the title picture conversation at 205 pounds. Speaking of high-profile light heavyweight news, Robert Whittaker has broken his silence on his confirmed matchup against Nikita Krylov, and he made it clear this move to 205 is being taken seriously. He also addressed the wider division, including the possibility of facing Alex Pereira at light heavyweight. With Pereira scheduled to fight Cyril Gane on the horizon, Whittaker suggested he does not believe Pereira will return to 205, regardless of the result. For now, Whittaker is fully focused on Krylov, a dangerous and experienced light heavyweight who immediately puts him into deep waters in his new division. He explained that the fight was offered, and he accepted without hesitation, saying he wants to test himself in a new weight class, feel the camp, travel, and experience fight week at 205. He admitted recent weight cuts at middleweight have taken a toll, leaving him depleted, and that moving up is also about refreshing his career and performance. Concerns around the UFC White House event have continued to grow, with new logistical issues emerging, including reports of insects at the outdoor venue and ongoing discussions about whether the event can realistically proceed without major changes. Dana White has also warned that bright arena-style lighting could attract swarms of moths, gnats, and other flying insects, creating potential distractions during live broadcast coverage and fighter entrances. Production teams are reportedly evaluating contingency plans to reduce lighting intensity and improve outdoor conditions, while discussions continue about whether the event may require relocation if conditions do not improve in time. Officials remain optimistic that adjustments can be made to preserve the historic nature. Move on to another news. Conor says he's better than ever. Conor says he's ready to remind the combat sports world exactly who he is. Conor is set to return from a 5-year layoff to face former featherweight and BMF champion Max Holloway in a rematch at UFC 329 on June 11th. Reacting to the announcement on social media, Conor claimed he's better than ever and confident about his comeback. He wrote, "Thank you for all the love, support, and encouragement over the last few days, people. I am feeling very energized, entering intense training camp because of it. I am very grateful for the team I have around me, my coaches and training partners. We are all fully tuned in for the challenge at hand, and it is a glorious time in our gym." Swipe to see an incredible snapshot of sparring with my longtime training partner and friend, Nicola, who is in phenomenal condition. pushing me hard with coaches monitoring our every exchange. I am better than ever, and I relish the opportunity to once again show my mastery in martial arts to the world. Lord Jesus, in your name, please to inspire the next generation to come. Amen. 4 more fighters are no longer part of the UFC roster. Top 15, bantamweight. Caitlin Vieira has parted ways with the promotion, despite winning. Some reports suggest she is now exploring free agency options after a competitive run in the division. The organization has also seen additional roster changes across multiple weight classes as the UFC continues to reshape its divisions with rising prospects and short-notice replacements. Fans have reacted strongly to the news, with discussions growing across social media about contract renewals, fighter pay, and long-term matchmaking direction. Analysts believe this wave of changes could open doors for new contenders to break into the rankings, especially in the bantamweight and lightweight divisions. Despite uncertainty around roster movement, attention remains heavily focused on upcoming blockbuster events and major title implications across the UFC schedule. Officials are expected to finalize further announcements in the coming weeks as negotiations and matchmaking decisions continue behind the scenes. The overall landscape of the UFC roster remains in constant evolution as fighters come and go, and new opportunities emerge for rising talent to make their mark on the global stage. Meanwhile, anticipation continues to build for Conor's return as fans debate whether he can still perform at the highest level after such a long layoff, and whether his confidence will translate into performance inside the octagon once again. Everything now builds toward a massive fight night spectacle in June, ahead very soon. Move on to another news. Ilia looks past Justin Gaethje and calls out Ryan Garcia despite all the uncertainty. Ilia remains fully locked in on his own path. He is set to face Justin Gaethje on the same card and has already started looking beyond that matchup. Ilia called out Ryan Garcia for a potential boxing crossover, saying he believes it would be a very comfortable fight for him and that he would break Garcia before it ever reaches a decision. The statement added more fuel to ongoing discussions about cross-sport matchups and future boxing MMA clashes. Fans reacted strongly to the call-out, with many debating whether such a fight would ever materialize under promotional agreements. Meanwhile, Justin Gaethje remains focused on his own upcoming challenge as attention builds around the card itself and its wider implications for the division. Ilia emphasized that his priority is still performance inside the cage, but he is not shying away from bigger names or bigger opportunities moving forward. The idea of a boxing crossover has already sparked debate among analysts and fans about timing, risk, and competitive balance between both sports. Some believe Ilia would bring too much pressure and pace for Garcia to handle, while others argue experience in pure boxing would still favor Garcia. Regardless, Ilia continues to build momentum with bold statements and high-profile targets, keeping his name constantly in headline conversations across combat sports media. The situation also adds pressure to Justin Gaethje, who must now navigate both immediate competition and the growing spotlight surrounding potential future opponents. With the division heating up, fans are expecting more clarity soon on what comes next after the upcoming event plays out. Ilia, however, remains confident in his abilities, stating that his skills translate across both MMA and striking exchanges at the highest level. He believes that adapting between sports would not be an issue, and insists that his finishing ability makes him dangerous in any format. The call-out has already intensified speculation about future negotiations, even though no official talks have been confirmed at this stage. Promoters are expected to monitor the public reaction closely as interest continues to grow around the possibility of a crossover super fight that would attract massive global attention. For now, Ilia shifts focus back toward his scheduled fight while keeping his eyes open for bigger opportunities ahead in both MMA and boxing discussions that continue to circulate around his name in combat sports headlines worldwide. Move on to another news. Carlos Prates has surprisingly thrown his name into the Ilia conversation. Carlos said his focus is first on becoming welterweight champion, but once he gets there, he wants to directly call out Ilia and see if he is willing to move up to 170. He did not shy away from the idea of welcoming one of the UFC's most dangerous finishers into a higher weight class. However, this kind of call-out does not fully align with what Ilia has previously stated about his future plans. Ilia has already made it clear that if he ever moves up in weight, it would be for a very specific reason, a super fight with Islam Makhachev. He is not planning on settling at welterweight or building a long run there, especially in a division where size becomes a major factor. Stylistically, That hesitation makes sense. Welterweight is stacked with big, athletic, high-volume fighters like Michael Morales, Ian Machado Gary, and Carlos Prates himself. Against that kind of size, Ilia would be at a significant physical disadvantage compared to what he is used to at featherweight and lightweight. During the discussion, Prates added, "To get the belt, and then maybe ask if he wants to come to 170. Let's do this. Let's dance." The conversation then shifted toward dream fight talk, with the idea of Ilia moving up being described as a potential super fight and money fight scenario. Questions were raised about physical differences, including height and reach comparisons between the two fighters. Prates claimed he is around 190, which he referred to as roughly 6'1", while Ilia was discussed as being significantly shorter at around 5'7". This sparked debate about whether the size difference would be too much for a welterweight clash, even in a high-level matchup. Prates acknowledged that there is a clear gap, but still pushed back on the idea that it would completely rule out the fight. He argued that official internet listings are not always accurate and suggested his own measurements may differ from reported stats. He stated, "The internet is wrong. I am 185, but in reality, I am 190. Despite the debate over size and division limits, the call-out adds another layer of intrigue to Ilia's growing list of potential super fight conversations as attention continues to build around possible future cross-divisional matchups. Move on to another news. Ryan Garcia has fired back at Ilia's recent call-out on X. Garcia responded directly to Ilia's comments, acknowledging his striking ability, but shutting down any idea of a crossover fight on equal terms. He said, "You are a damn good striker for MMA. That's it." He then escalated the tone of the response, making it clear he believes the difference between boxing and MMA striking is too significant for Ilia to handle in a boxing setting. Garcia added, "You would not be sipping on tea after our fight. You would be eating through a straw after our fight." The message was direct and aggressive, showing he is not interested in entertaining a crossover discussion beyond online exchanges. He followed up by telling Ilia to stay in his lane, reinforcing that he believes each fighter should remain in their own sport rather than crossing over into boxing rules. Garcia also stated that he is comfortable remaining in his own lane, signaling that he has no intention of pursuing an MMA crossover bout. The exchange comes after Ilia publicly suggested interest in a potential boxing matchup, which immediately sparked debate across both boxing and MMA communities. Fans reacted strongly to Garcia's response, with many pointing out the growing tension between elite strikers from different combat sports backgrounds. Some believe Garcia's boxing experience gives him a clear edge in any pure boxing format, while others argue Ilia's pressure and timing could still make it competitive under certain conditions. Despite the back and forth, no official negotiations or fight announcements have been made regarding a crossover bout between the two. Promoters have not indicated any serious movement toward making the matchup happen, but the online exchange has significantly boosted public interest. Garcia's comments add another layer of intensity to Ilia's growing list of callouts, further fueling discussions about whether cross-discipline super fights will become more common in the future. For now, both fighters appear focused on their respective careers, but the verbal exchange has ensured this rivalry remains a talking point across both boxing and MMA audiences moving forward. Move on to another news. Tom Aspinall has given his prediction on Alex Pereira versus Gane, and he believes the heavyweight picture is about to shift again. It remains unclear who Tom Aspinall will face in his next title defense as the UFC heavyweight champion, but all signs suggest a possible rematch scenario involving Gane. Gane is set to face Alex Pereira for an interim heavyweight title at the UFC White House card on June 14th. One of the most anticipated matchups in the division right now. Speaking on the Fight Your Corner podcast, Aspinall broke down the matchup in detail and shared his expectations for how the fight could play out. He suggested that Gane has a strong chance of winning the fight by decision, pointing to stylistic advantages in movement, timing, and heavyweight experience. Aspinall explained that Pereira has shown significant knockout power, but much of that success has come against smaller opponents who do not carry the same durability as elite heavyweights. He added that a major factor in Pereira's recent stoppages is often his physical advantage over naturally smaller fighters competing in higher weight classes. However, Aspinall believes Cyril Gane presents a very different challenge due to his size, durability, and technical movement at heavyweight level. He pointed out that Gane was able to take heavy shots from Francis Ngannou over 5 rounds without being finished, highlighting his proven resistance against elite power. Aspinall questioned whether Pereira's striking effectiveness will translate the same way at heavyweight, where opponents are more durable and physically strong. He also noted that Pereira has historically performed best against opponents who are stationary or do not move well, allowing him to control striking exchanges more easily. In contrast, Gane is described as a highly mobile heavyweight who moves fluidly, switches angles, and controls distance exceptionally well inside the cage. Aspinall emphasized that Gane's footwork, timing, and ability to read range could make this a very difficult stylistic matchup for Pereira. He concluded that, based on these factors, the stylistic matchup appears to favor